There is no fear, 'cause I believe. There is no doubt, 'cause I have seen your faithfulness, my fortress, over and over. I have a hope found in your name. I have a strength found in your grace, your faithfulness, my fortress, over and over. Make way through the waters, walk me through the fire. Do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. Shut the mouths of lions, bring dry bones to life, and do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. I believe in you. Release your love inside of me. Unleash your power for all to see. Spirit, come, fall on us, so over and over, oh Lord. Make way through the waters, walk me through the fire. Do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. Shut the mouths of lions, bring dry bones to life, and do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. God of exceedingly, God of abundantly, more than we ask or think. Lord, you will never fail. Your name is powerful, your word's unstoppable. All things are possible in you. God of exceedingly, God of abundantly, more than we ask or think. Lord, you will never fail. Your words are powerful, your name's unstoppable. All things are possible in you. Make way through the waters, walk me through the fire. Do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. Shut the mouths of lions, bring dry bones to life, and do what you are famous for, what you are famous for. There is no fear, 'cause I believe. There is no doubt, 'cause I have seen your faithfulness, my fortress, over and over. Hi, welcome to our family service today. I am so glad that you're here. Hey, let us know that you are tuning in. There are two ways that you can do that. First is you can use the link in the description
that is a great way if your email has changed, if your phone number has changed, if you changed where you live, or if it's your first time. That lets us tell you more about ourselves. Also, if you have a prayer request, that's a great way to tell us your prayer request. We will be praying for it. Or you can just leave a comment in the video below. I want to know, who's your favorite teacher? I had an awesome teacher named Mr. Hanson when I was in elementary school. I was kind of a weird kid, but he kind of embraced my weirdness, helped me to thrive, and I really appreciate him. So tell me below, who has been your favorite teacher? We have just one announcement for you today, and that is that we are giving away a free Lent devotional. Lent is about 6 weeks between February 17th and Easter that helps prepare us to celebrate Easter. And we have a 6-week devotional, devotion a week. You will get a chance to kind of open mail from a disciple of Jesus to hear their story. And then there's going to be suggestions for snacks and games and crafts all in there that you can do. We'll even provide some of the supplies that you need, and those that we don't provide are going to be really easy for you to get. So if you want to go through that as a family, there's a link in the description below to sign up. It's called Letters from Jerusalem. Now let's get back to worship.
Shakes the whole earth, holy thunder. This is amazing grace.
This is our last week for our first memory verse in the Romans road, Romans 3:23 and 24. It goes, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified freely by his grace through the redemption that came by Jesus Christ." And I just want to challenge you to video yourself saying that memory verse and to share it with us. Share it with people on your social media. It is a great way to share God's word. So that's my challenge for you. Pause the video right now and video yourself saying the memory verse. And let's do a song with it.
Romans 3:23 and 24.
When Jesus had finished preaching the Sermon on the Mount, the Bible says that the crowds were astounded at the teaching because he taught as one who had authority, not like their scribes and teachers of the law. And that really struck me this week, that they were astounded. Now, what Matthew used to say astounded is a common idiom for them that is a lot like our idiom, our phrase, their minds were blown. Matthew is saying Jesus' teaching blew their mind, which got me thinking and pondering, what about Jesus' teaching blows people's minds? What makes Jesus such a good teacher? And really, have I ever had my mind blown by Jesus' teaching? Well, I think there are 3 things about Jesus' teaching that should leave us astounded, should leave us amazed. And those 3 things is 1, Jesus calls us to a radical way of living. The second one is that Jesus aims for the heart. And the third one, Jesus has authority. So let's start with that first one. So let's listen to some of Jesus's radical teaching. And I borrowed someone else's voice for this. It was a dramatized reading of the Sermon on the Mount. It has some background noises of the crowd to help us get in that mode, for it to feel more real. And I want you guys to prepare yourselves. Get ready to join in that crowd, listening to Jesus, listening as if it's the first time, and see if you can be blown away by how radical his teaching is.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Wow, those Beatitudes really seem like comfort, and we talk about how comfortable they are, but really, Jesus is talking about a new reality that will flip everything on its head. Those who mourn are blessed. Those who are persecuted are blessed. Those who are hungry and thirsty are blessed. He is saying everything that we valued as successful gets flipped up and down. So Jesus is saying your version of success is wrong. The truth is completely opposite. Let's hear some more Jesus' radical teachings.
You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not murder. And anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to his brother, Racha, is answerable to the Sanhedrin. But anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell.
Wow. I mean, this hits hard, right? Jesus is basically saying, hey, you heard the 10 Commandments, don't murder, good job. You keep that, you haven't murdered, good job. That means nothing. Most people don't murder. It's not that big. But he's saying, nope, there's something bigger. There's something more. He says, if you are angry at someone, well, you're in your heart, you're treating them the same way as if you murdered them. You are despising them, you are lowering them down. If you call them names, if you say they are fools, you are despising them. You are treating them as less than human. You have failed. How radical of a living would that be if you couldn't even call someone a fool? If you couldn't even be angry at someone without deserving God's punishment? That would be crazy living if you never got angry at all. That would be radical living if you lived like that. That would be so hard. But Jesus has more to say that is just radical.
You have heard that it was said, eye for eye, and tooth for tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also.
Jesus is saying, hey, there was this law that says that if you punish someone, if you got revenge for someone stealing, don't go above what they did. If someone hit you once, don't hit them twice. And he says, okay, that may have been a challenging rule at the time because we always want to up the ante, but he's saying, don't even hit them back. If someone hits you, turn the other cheek so that they can hit you twice. That is radical living. Never defending yourself. Never fighting for your rights. Never trying to get revenge. Trying to even the score. Never doing that. That is big and different. So Jesus was calling us to radical living. And it should astound, and it should challenge us. So I want you to just pause the video right now. Talk about as a family. What did you hear of Jesus' radical teaching that challenged you? What would be the hardest thing for you to do, and why? So first, Jesus is a better teacher. Jesus is an astounding teacher because he is telling us to live radically different lives than the world tells us. He has a different version of success. He calls us to a higher righteousness than anyone ever called us to. Jesus calls us to radical living. And the second thing that Jesus does that is so astounding is he aims at the heart. Listen to this.
Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. If you do, you have no reward from your Father in heaven. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you.
Jesus says basically the same thing about praying and fasting. He's basically saying, don't show off with your good deeds. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. He's calling out those people who do good things, but only do good things for other people to notice. He's saying that what matters most isn't the outward deeds, but your intentions in your heart. He's saying if you do something and other people praise you for it, well, that's your reward. You won't get a reward from God. He's trying to aim in at whether your heart, whether your motives, whether your intentions for what you do is right. Man, that can be hard, right? Because it's one thing just to do the right thing. That feels like a miracle sometimes. But Jesus is saying you should want good for other. Jesus is saying it also matters what your motives are for doing that. Wow, that's right at your heart. But he goes on. Let's listen.
Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. No one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money.
Now Jesus is saying that it's not just enough to try to do good while you're out there being successful. It matters that you care most about God than anything else. That if your life is, if Monday through Friday, the most important thing to you is how much money you make, then whatever you do on Sunday doesn't count. Because you can't serve both money and God. Wow. He's saying, where is your treasure? What is most important to you? That matters to God. That is big, hard teaching. Because we love to put God in a box that we open on Sunday, or we open just for a little bit of time. But God is saying that if you think anything is more important in your life than how you serve Him, then you miss the point. Jesus is aiming at your heart. Let me ask you, where is your treasure? Did Jesus hit your heart when He was aiming there? Did He challenge you about what you value most? About your intentions in how you live? About your motives? About what you care about? Did Jesus challenge that for you? Pause the video, talk about that as a family. Where really is your treasure? So, Jesus' teaching is astounding in 3 ways. First, He calls us to this radical way of living. Second is He aims for our heart. And third, He has authority. Listen here.
Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons and perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers.
Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash.
So Jesus puts Himself in the position of Lord, of King, of boss, of the person who we have to follow. And He says people will come to Him and say, we have done awesome things in your name. But Jesus will say, did you do what I told you to do? Did you listen to my commands? Did you follow my rules? And then He goes on to say, look, your entire life should be built around what I say. If you do what I say, your life will be strong. You'll be like a wise man building your house on a foundation. If you don't do what I say, your life will crumble about. Do you have a problem with that? I think if we were honest with ourselves, we'd probably say that a lot of the time we don't listen to Jesus' radical call in our lives. We don't change our hearts because we want to say, I know better than Jesus. I can build my life better than Jesus. I can ignore His commands. His commands are too radical for me. I can't. If I build my own life, it'll work better than if Jesus built mine. But Jesus is saying, I am your boss. I know how you should live. And if you do what I say, you will have a good life. And if you don't do what I say, your life will crumble apart. I think that is what astounded people the most, because if you think about it, only God could really say that. So when Jesus is teaching with that authority, when he says, I am Lord, following me is the only way to live a good life, he's putting himself directly in line with God. He's saying, I am God. Because God is Lord, I am Lord too. That is astounding. So let me ask you this. Have you made Jesus the Lord of your life? Are you really willing to say that Jesus knows better than I do? Is there a command out there that you have thought, I know better than the Bible. I know better than Jesus. I can keep doing this my own way. I am smarter. Pause the video. Talk about it as a family. I really hope that this little exercise helped. I hope that you can now put yourself in a position to be astounded, to be amazed, to be challenged by Jesus' teaching. Because what Jesus said really is true. That if you build your life on Jesus' teaching, when troubles come, you will stand. But if you build your life on the sand, if you build your life on what you think is right, on what you hear from other people, anything other than Jesus' teaching, when troubles come, your life will fall apart. So I want to challenge you guys to commit to reading Jesus' teachings this month. For the month of February, starting tomorrow, read Jesus' teachings a little bit every day. And read it with no other intent than to be astounded by him, to be amazed by him, to hear his words as a challenge for your life, and to worship him.